Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We are happy to welcome Dee Grossman, who is Executive Director of the Tuscarawas County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Good morning.
Good morning, and what a beautiful morning.
Oh, my goodness. Always.
Always in Tuscarawas County. It's always 68 and sunny. Not always.
Well,
in our hearts.
In our hearts. Thank you, Dee.
Yes.
That's exactly right. You have been doing this job for how long?
It seems like forever. 33 years.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
I started this job thinking, I'll keep this job until I find a really good job, and this turned out to be the really good job.
Oh.
I'm very fortunate, very fortunate.
Dream job.
Yeah.
First of all, to be working with the CVB at an area that you don't have to really talk people into coming and visiting our community.
Oh, you'd be surprised how much talking we have to do.
So much tourism, though. So many things to see and do.
I know. We have so many historical sites. I mean, we're the frontier, the western frontier for history, which is really, really a blessing. We've got Amish country. We've got 300 festivals and events. We've got lots of cool stuff going on every single weekend of the year. It's amazing.
300 festivals and events, and we have
give or take
a half hour to chat here. So I don't think we're going to get them all in.
We'll be brief.
Well, we're going to rattle them off really fast. But I would suggest that people grab a calendar right now.
Absolutely.
While we're having this conversation, because there are some things coming up that people are not going to want to miss. First of all, let's start there. Let's talk about some upcoming events that we want to make sure are on everyone's calendar.
So we have got a couple of cool events coming up this summer. Obviously, though, they can always go to our website, which is traveltusk.com.
We'll give that a couple times. That's great. Okay.
Travel Tusk, as short for Tuscarora, so TUSC.
Everyone around here knows to call it Tusk, but it is funny when we've told people, and even the street, Tuscarawas Street in Canton or Tuscarawas County, and you just say, oh, you go down to Tusk.
Yeah.
And they're like, I couldn't find a Tusk. So, oh, yeah, that's right. You're not from around these parts.
I always know when a visitor from outside the region calls because they say, can you send me information on that Tusca. I'm like, Tuscarawas County? They're like, yeah, that's it.
Not so hard, is it?
No, not so hard at all.
So traveltusk.com. Everything will be there.
Fabulous 50s Fling. Okay, this has been an event that's been going on now for about 20 years down in downtown Sugar Creek.
Fun.
They give you 50s prices.
What?
On everything. 50-cent pie, quarter hot dogs. I mean, it's 50s prices. And they have one of the largest car shows in the region. They've got probably 300 cars at that car show. Yeah,
when is this taking place?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. You have to look it up. No, first weekend in June 8th and 9th. Yeah,
all right.
First full weekend.
So do people dress 50s when they come to this?
They do, actually. You won't see me in a poodle skirt, but there are lots of poodle skirts hanging around.
Oh, how fun.
So there's entertainment,
live
entertainment.
Like what entertainment?
Oh, singers, dancers. Some of the kids come out and they perform for people.
Do a little jitterbugging?
Yeah, a little bit of jitterbugging. Again, you're not going to see me jitterbugging. Hard on the knees.
I suppose. But,
and
you know,
no
those
one can
crazy
actually throw
kids.
me up in the air anymore. I don't think the liability will cover.
I think they could, but it does sound like a lot of fun. And the main thing is 50s prices. So for all the food and attractions, that is a blast.
Yep. We've also got 4th of July celebrations, World War II reenactors, Revolutionary War reenactors, the Zor Harvest Festival coming up this summer, Cy Young Days down in Newcomerstown. We're also going to be dedicating a bronze statue of Woody Hayes pretty soon down at in the Newcomerstown Museum.
High time.
Yeah, big times.
Why Cy Young?
Woody Hayes.
Why is the Cy Young Days?
Oh, because Cy Young was from Newcomerstown.
Many people don't realize that.
He's buried in Paoli, but he actually grew up in the Newcomerstown area.
So cool.
And Woody Hayes served.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so everybody knows that story. And if you don't, it's on our website as well.
Well, we want to keep sending people to the website, but we can get a little info out of you as well.
Sure.
Where will the reenactors be?
Oh, gosh, Fort Lawrence specifically. That'll be in
course.
July. They also do the 4th of July event where they lay the wreaths on the headstones. It's very somber solemn Veterans dedication on 4th of July weekend.
But what a nice way to celebrate and really remember why we're doing this in the midst of all the hot dogs and baseball and picnics and fireworks.
Yeah, let's remember that Revolutionary War, those were our first veterans.
Yes.
And people forget that as well.
But nice
and it
to
happened right here in
that.
Tuscarawas County.
That's the thing, right here, and it's preserved so beautifully.
Yeah, the museum is really nice. And we have 21 bodies interred at Fort Lawrence.
Who battled in the Revolutionary War.
They died.
Whew. Tell me about the reenactors. Who do you get to come in and do it?
Well, most of our reenactors come in from northern Tuscarawas County and Stark County. We have a lot of history teachers from the Stark County school system. And I got to tell you, it's always hotter than the blue blazes for that reenact. And they're wearing wool. Their outfits are made of wool. I do not envy them. They actually reenact one of the battles of the Revolutionary War. Yeah, it's a pretty somber event, but it's also for kids as well.
Oh, yes.
Because they can see how the Revolutionary War outfits are different from, say, World War II, World War I. So it's a pretty interesting event.
One of our favorite things to take our boys to when they were growing up. And I loved how even the camping out part, everyone stayed in character and talked to them and explained everything.
Yeah, they sleep on straw.
Yeah. And as you say, in those wool uniforms, it's like, how are you doing this? Yeah.
They cook over an open fire.
Yes.
They have authentic looking weapons, things like that.
Amazing.
So,
all right. Dee, what else have you got?
I've got some fall foliage train rides. Now, I know it's pretty early, and it's early to think about fall foliage, but we've not had fall foliage train rides for probably 8 years, probably since 2010. Those will be done at the Denison Depot. They are specific for kids and veterans and sweethearts. They're themed for Kids Storybook Express, Bing's Magical Halloween Adventure. We also have a chocolate and cheese sweetheart ride. Those will be
Hang on. When is that?
October 6th, 7th, 13th, and 14th.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so we have gotten permission to do some fall foliage rides, and we will do a troop train ride as well.
When would you say is the epitome weekend for when the fall foliage comes out?
Well, it all depends on the weather. It all depends on the rain. Typically, we don't come into fall foliage till mid-October, 3rd or 4th week of October, even sometimes into November. Again, it just depends on the weather. But these are the weekends that we were able to secure with the train cars and the train rides.
So Denison Depot, which in itself is an experience.
Yeah, it is a World War II busiest troop train stop during World War II, halfway between Pittsburgh and Columbus. And so most of you know that it only could go, a steam train could only go 100 miles before it had to get more water. And so they always stopped. In the Salvation Army, it was one of the busiest stops during World War II. They serviced 1.6 million servicemen with free sandwiches and coffee and donuts.
Well, I just can't think of anything more lovely than to hop on the train, take that neat, just the beautiful scenery that you're going through, and look at the gorgeous fall foliage.
Yeah.
We didn't know it when we picked our wedding day, but it ended up being the third weekend in October, and everything is at its best.
Well, now listen, you could celebrate your anniversary.
That's what I'm saying.
A week or so early. We do have the chocolate and cheese sweetheart ride.
That's going on the calendar.
So you'll have an opportunity to get chocolate, and there'll be people singing love songs.
Oh,
all
my
through the train
goodness.
cars. It's going to be so romantic.
It's what we're going to do.
You could also, maybe get remarried on the train. How cool would that be?
Oh, my goodness. Reenact our vows.
I know.
Wonder if I could talk someone into that.
Oh, maybe.
That
That would be a really big production. And we could film it. Then we could use it as a video.
We could live stream it.
That would be so cool.
Oh, Dee. Okay, you talk amongst yourselves. Dee and I are going to plan my anniversary right now.
And we're not going to tell your husband. You just show up.
You just surprise him.
Oh, would he be happy or would he be furious?
He hates being the center of attention,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I tend to enjoy it. So I think, between the two of us, we'd be okay. We'd be like
All
right
right,
there in the
all
middle.
right.
That just sounds like awesome, though, for anyone.
Yeah.
Cheese and chocolate. What else do you need? And beautiful leaves to look at.
Yeah.
Denison Depot, let's not leave that topic until we talk about Polar Express. You got the best one.
I know we do. Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
You know what? It takes hundreds and hundreds of volunteers to operate that. Hundreds. Because each train car and each train ride has 10 train cars, and you need at least a half a dozen volunteers per per car.
Yeah.
That includes a storyteller. That includes a secondary storyteller. It includes elves. Okay, we have at least 4 elves per car. We also have the chocolatier person who has to sing the chocolate song.
Yep.
Standing upside down on his head, I think, because I've seen that,
Yes.
going down. We also have Santa on that train car. And, well, there's 10 train cars, and that's a busy night for Santa anyway.
It is amazing, and you're entertained the entire time. And at the whole time, you're looking at this beautiful scenery and everything.
And when you
go
get
to the real North Pole.
And when you get to the North Pole, Santa's there. There's reindeer. There's live reindeer. And there's houses, and there's elves, and they're busy making things. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it sells out every year. We very rarely have seats left over. So they have already started selling tickets, believe it or not.
Do you
Here it
have
is,
to
May.
yes, well, I'm not surprised. Do you have to belong to something to get the early tickets? Anyone can call now.
Yeah, call now.
You don't have to join.
Yeah.
You can just call now and get your seat. Okay, well, do it because it is absolutely just a wonderful way to kick off Christmas. And when does that start? And
First
how
2
long does it
weekends
go?
of December, I believe, are the weekends. But it's also listed on our website, which again is traveltusk.usc.com.
Awesome. I appreciate, too, some little ones can't be up late in the dark, and you do several matinees, which is very,
afternoon.
very nice
Yeah.
and just as magical. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Yes, because everything is the same, except it's not dark.
Well, it is fun. All right, so that's Denison Depot. I'm just thinking of all the amazing historical things. One of our favorite places to come is Tuscarawas County. Of
course.
And there's just so much to do. You've got Worther Museum and so many other things. What are the, not just events, but permanent attractions and things to see there?
Oh, gosh. I think we're going to run out of time
Yeah,
if I have to
probably
tell
will.
you. We always start at the north because
Okay.
they're coming from Stark County down through Tuscarawas County. You got Fort Lawrence and Zor. Now, Zor was just named National Historic Landmark.
Yes.
As you know, there are only 74 in the state of Ohio and a little over 2,000 in the whole entire nation. Getting National Historic Landmark status is a huge, with a capital HUGE process.
Huge deal.
For us going through the Denison Depot, getting the same status, it took over 10 years to get it. The Zor Village was a little over 2 years. But what it does is it protects the community. It protects the site for the future, but it also brings national awareness to the site as well. And it forces you to think about the importance of that site in your own mind. Because when you live and work in Tuscarawas County, you tend to forget what we have. So Zor Village is just that community that you have to drive through, on 212 to get to someplace else. It's a National Historic Landmark.
Yes.
Denison Depot is just that thing, down there in Denison. Well, it is a National Historic Landmark, and there are lots and lots of hoops to go through.
And a museum. The Depot's a true museum where you can go through and learn something. I'm always fascinated by any of you who work in the tourism industry because you know so much. You know so much history. It's always fascinating to have the gal from Zor come visit with us. And it's like she brings it to life because she knows so much about the people themselves. And I'd say that for all of you. And I say that with just the most respect. And
You're talking
it's
about the
huge
director
compliment.
at Zor?
No, yes.
Yeah.
And
she's a colonial. She really loves the colonial time period, especially colonial women. We were able to do a colonial women tour in Gettysburg a couple of years ago, the women of the Civil War.
Wow.
Which I thought, okay, that's interesting. I'll tell you what, it was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Well, and Christmas in Zor, Christmas at the Denison Depot, Christmas at any of these.
Reeves does a really nice job. Christmas at Reeves. They do a Victorian Christmas. The rooms are just perfectly decorated. It's almost as though you're walking back into the late 1800s, early 1900s.
It is. And everyone, again, knows so much about it.
Yeah.
And, you were blessed to have someone like Mooney Werther hail from your area.
Yeah.
So you've got all of that. And want to talk about that a little bit.
So the Werther Museum, one of the first things I did when I moved to Tuscarawas County back in the 70s is I thought, I should really get to know this community. And I got out. One of the first places I went to see was Werther Carvings. And at that time, it was just a tiny little building with the museum behind the gift shop. And it was really crowded. They had carvings stacked on top of carvings. But today, when you walk through that museum, it is just a testament to the family and to Mooney's geniusness.
Yes.
I mean, he had a second-grade education, but he was a mathematical and an engineering genius.
Yes.
And he carved the evolution of the steam engine in ebony and ivory with working parts.
Yes.
One of them has over 2,000 teeny tiny little parts, and they've got some of the parts laying aside on the machine, the carving that he didn't finish before he passed away. And they're so tiny. But it's fascinating.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of communities would be so happy to have one of these things, one of these destinations. We are blessed with
we have all of them.
Hundreds and hundreds. Yeah, we've got them all.
Yeah,
you don't have to go anywhere else.
And you've got Alpine Hills. We got the world's largest cuckoo clock.
Exactly.
And you can actually get a backstage tour, I suppose, in the cuckoo clock. You can talk to the mayor, and he'll show you how everything works.
I've never done that.
And speaking of backstage, Trumpet in the Land.
Oh, my goodness.
Starting in their 44th? Yeah, I think anniversary coming up. So,
well, Dee and I are going to be chatting on and on about more and more and more fun things to do in Tuscarawas County. She is executive director of the Tuscarawas County Convention and Visitors Bureau. But first, we need to take a short little break here. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.